Hey everyone, Ryan Lane with Lane's Barbecue. Today we are doing our beginner series, How to Brisket. So we've got our newbie with us. This is Ethan. You might recognize him from a couple videos in the past, but hey man, let's get to it.
Let's get right into it. All right, Ryan, I'm already a little overwhelmed. I've never seen this at my Publix or anything like that, so tell me a little bit about it.
All right, so what we have here is a whole packer brisket. So you'll see that it's tightly wrapped. So a couple things I would say you're kind of looking for when you go in. If you've never done a brisket before, I would highly advise you go to your local butcher. So a lot of times they're going to know exactly what you're looking for. They can help you pick it out. What we're typically looking for is a whole style packer brisket. Basically what that means is you've got the lean side attached, you've got the fat side attached, or the moist part of it.
Right.
Everything is whole. I find that it cooks a lot better when it's all together. And I think if you just buy, a lot of times people will start out just buying the lean. Well, what happens is they tend to dry it out. So this will help everything cook a lot better. I typically want to try to find anywhere from like a 12 to 15 pound brisket. So one sharp knife, right? So we've got a 6 or 7 inch boning knife that we're going to use. Sharpen this every time. The sharper the knife, the actually less chance you have to cut yourself, because it's going to glide through the meat. You're not going to be trying to like force through it. And then with the ice cold meat, it's going to really help. So there's a couple key areas on the brisket that are going to like hurt your heart as you're cutting them out and throwing them in the trash. Because you're like, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of money. Right. But for a killer finished product, you got to do it. So,
got to take it out.
On the bottom here, there's this chunk, almost like a big old piece right here that we're going to remove. And then on the top, which there's a lot more fat,
a lot of fat
on the top. So this is really the part we're going to spend the most time on.
Okay.
All right.
So where would you start, and do you have like a certain knife technique that you use?
I typically start on the lean side. So you've got the two different sides. You've got the lean side, which you can tell is a lot thinner than the fat side.
Right.
Right? So I usually start on the lean side. I'll take a little bit off the end. And so what that does is it'll give me a good gauge as I'm trying to trim the fat on the way up. And the key is actually cutting away from you. So with cold meat, sharp knife, it's going to move a lot smoother, and you're not going to hurt yourself trying to like come towards yourself.
Right. That's why everybody in the comments roasted me on the pork butt video, because I was all over the place.
That's because you scared all of us. Yeah, that wasn't just in the comments. I think it was mostly our crew that was commenting down in there.
It felt like it.
Yeah. So keep those comments coming. They're hilarious, and you know, it helps us learn. Yeah. So, all right, cool. You ready to dive in?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. All right, Ethan, one other pro tip that I didn't say in the beginning is what you want to make sure is that this brisket is ice cold, like straight from the refrigerator when you're going to carve it.
All right, so how are we going to season this?
All right, so today, beginner series style, we're going to take it really simple. So
I like it.
Normally, we would just rock our brisket rub. This is what we do for all of our catering. This is what we've done since day one. It's super simple. Salt, pepper, garlic, paprika, and thyme. Classic, right?
Right.
But what we're going to do today is we're kind of rolling like Texas-style brisket.
Texas barbecue style, all right.
So we are just simply going salt and pepper.
50-50
So we got our 50-50 blend. You can actually add a little bit more pepper if you want. It gives it an incredible bark, but really what we want is we want the meat to shine.
Okay.
All right, so usually we say start a little bit higher so you can kind of get an even coat. All right?
Man,
and you got to think, this is a what was a 15-pound piece of meat. So you want to season pretty heavy.
Right.
So you want to make sure you get on the sides, on the ends. The brisket is seasoned, so we can let it rest now. A lot of times people are like, do you sit it out for an hour? Honestly, we're just waiting on the grill to get up to temp. So
right.
I think it's about at 275. So let's go ahead and get it over there.
On.
All right, Ethan, we've got the Rectex set at 275. So we're gonna drop this on here now. So the idea is we want to cook this total cook. We want to cook it till it's about 202 degrees internal temp or probe tender, okay?
Probe tender.
But there's kind of 2 steps. So what we're going to do is we just put it on. We're not opening it, right? We're going to let it sit like this for about 6 hours.
6 hours.
All right?
And we're not going to check it.
We're not going to. I know you love checking it.
I love opening the grill.
But we're not going to do that. So we're going to put it on there. We're going to let it sit for 6 hours. And then at that point, we can talk about the wrap. All right, Ethan, you did it, bro.
We made it through.
6 hours. All right, so we made it to 6 hours. So here's our key with that. So the brisket is now at 180 degrees internal temp. So what we've done is do you understand the stall? I think we kind of talked about this.
Talked about it a little bit.
So a big piece of meat like this is going to hit what we call the stall, all right? So it usually occurs somewhere around 160, 165 degrees, kind of in that range. What we do is we cook it through the stall.
Right.
So after about 6.5 hours, it's going to be around 180 degrees internal temp. At that point, the bark is set, it's pushed through the stall. So now what they call the Texas crutch, we actually choose to wrap it in foil. So we've got double foil, we got it wrapped up, and now we're going to put it back on the smoker. Same way, fat side up, until it reaches an internal temp between 202 to 205 degrees, or is probe tender. And you'll be able to feel it when you stick your thermopin in there.
Right.
All right?
So I just have one question. So
Yeah.
I know some people I've seen on social, they're using butcher paper or they're using foil.
Yep.
Why do we wrap in foil as opposed
I think
to
a
butcher?
lot of it is just comfort, right? So we've always used foil. I think it keeps a lot of the moisture in there. So the main key is butcher paper is going to tend to leave you with a firmer bark, all right? But because we push through that stall, the bark is already set, we're not going to have a lot of problems with that bark being like moist or squishy, all right? For us, it's cleaner, and I find that it extends the cooking process a little bit longer when you wrap it in the butcher paper, which we're hungry. We're always hungry. And so we already got to wait when it's done. So like we rush through the process.
Right.
But at the end of the day, butcher paper and foil, just know they're going to be a little bit different in the way they finish. So if you switch off and on, just make sure you kind of like watch the internal temp of the brisket.
Gotcha.
All right. All right. So let's put it back on the smoker just a little bit longer, and then we'll be set. We've got it pulled off, and now the key. Here's where like the ultimate patience comes in. Like really, with a piece of meat like this, we really want to let it rest from anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And so with a steak, it might be 15 minutes, but we want to let this thing has been cooking at 275 degrees. The inside's just kind of like this. We want it to chill. So it's something you can wrap it in a towel, put it in a cooler. If you have some kind of like warm on your oven, if you want to put it in that, you don't want to cook it anymore. You just want it to hang out. And it's also 200 and something degrees inside. You try to slice it right now, a lot of times it's just going to fall apart. All right. So we got the, oh my gosh, dude, you burn it.
No. I know, but I know this. I know at least this. That's bark.
That is bark.
Bark. Go
You're
dogs.
You're learning. So basically that is bark. That is from that seasoning that's been built, the smoke on it. Here, we'll go ahead and toss this out of the way. So here's what we got. So remember, we've got our lean side.
Right.
And our point, or the like moist side. If someone orders like moist brisket, it's coming from the point.
That part.
Lean is coming from the lean side, or the flat is what they call it. What we're going to do is actually cut it almost right in the middle, right? We're going to go straight down like this, kind of where the lean meets the point, all right?
Gosh.
So, oh man, look at that.
Oh.
So it's still, even after it's rested, it's still really, really hot, right? All right, Ethan. So we cut it once. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to keep going to the left on this lean side. We're going to go ahead and cut all these pieces.
Oh, man. The smells are just so good.
That's the thing, even after resting too. And I didn't say it, but we've got a brisket knife. So there's a couple different kinds. This has got the scalloped edge on it.
Right.
You can also have a straight edge. The key is just having a sharp knife, so it's going to cut through that meat.
It looks like you're applying like hardly any pressure too.
Plus, I'm really strong. You know what I mean? So
Big soul.
yeah, it's a Krispy Kreme. All right. All right. Then this is where it gets a little bit different. So we're going to flip. Oops, sorry. Here we go. We're going to flip the point to the side, and we're actually going to then still cut north to south. All right? So that's pretty much it. So if you wanted to make burn ends, you could actually remove, you can see here, the flat is still kind of running under here. You've got this point, that extra really moist part right there. You could remove it right here, dice it up, cube it up, throw some sauce on it, and put it back on the smoker if you want to.
That's why I love the chopped.
Everyone always
brisket
says
sandwich.
sliced or chopped, right?
Yep.
Well, I say why not do both?
Do a little bit.
Yeah. So you can take some of this moist piece, and you just want to kind of cut through it.
Oh yeah. I feel like I could do this part. This seems
Perfect. Add a little bit of sauce. Get you a bun or a tortilla. Plop that on there, and you've got friends for life.
So,
right?
Are you a sauce guy with your brisket?
I personally love our white sauce. So I think really the meat kind of shines. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, or a brisket rub is kind of the way to go.
Yep.
But I love just a little something over the top. So I think it just adds another layer of flavor. And, you know, it's just kind of the way I like to do it. But do what you like to do, you know? If you like vinegar, we've got a great vinegar sauce. If you want something spicy, we got a spicy sauce.
A little spicy.
Or you can keep it just all natural.
Yep. Love it.
At the end of the day, guys, it's all about getting your family, your friends around the table and just enjoying a meal. So remember, just keep experimenting. Have a great time, and we'll see you soon. All right, bro.
Cheers.
So good.
That's what it's all about.
It's super easy, too.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man.